The time is 2 o'clock.
Good afternoon and welcome to the midweek edition of The World Today. It is a Southwest Network program of Radio Nigeria, Ibadan's zonal station, comprising news and feature. In the lineup, FG unveiled digital curriculum for colleges of education. Dangote refinery refutes claim of fuel re-importation from Togo. On the foreign scene, England shut schools over heat wave. France detects first Ebola case. Heart of the matter is on assessing International Monetary Fund (IMF) recent report on Nigerian economy, while the feature is on Gulf of Alaska. My name is Stephen Agbaje. With me on the news this afternoon is
Emilia Ujimudia. Many thanks for joining us. You can also listen to us on live stream via www.radionigeriaibadan.gov.ng, X and Instagram, Facebook on at PFM935 Ibadan. Don't keep quiet. If you see something, say something. Now the details of the news. The Executive Secretary of the National Commission for Colleges of Education, Mrs. Angela Ajala, has unveiled plans to introduce a competency-based digital curriculum across Nigerian colleges of education, declaring that her administration is determined to restore the prestige of teacher education and produce a new generation of digitally skilled, globally competitive teachers. Mrs. Ajala made the disclosure in Abuja during activities marking her first 100 days in office, where she outlined a reform agenda centered on curriculum modernization, digital transformation, skills acquisition, inclusive education, and the implementation of the dual mandate policy. According to her, the reforms are aimed at addressing long-standing concerns about the quality of teacher preparation and ensuring that colleges of education remain relevant in an increasingly technology-driven world.
the National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Ribadu, has expressed commitment of the federal government to strengthen security cooperation with the United Kingdom to addressing evolving security challenges. Malam Ribadu made the commitment at the opening of the 4th UK-Nigeria Security and Defence Partnership Dialogue in Abuja. The National Security Advisor described the partnership as a vital component of the strategic relationship between both countries, anchored on mutual trust, shared interest and commitment to peace, stability and prosperity. He noted that since the inaugural dialogue in London in 2022, cooperation between Nigeria and the UK has expanded significantly in areas such as counterterrorism, cybersecurity, maritime security, intelligence sharing, crisis response and regional stability. In his remarks, the United Kingdom's National Security Advisor, Mr. Jonathan Powell, described Nigeria as the UK's foremost partner in Africa and commended the country's leadership role in promoting regional peace and stability.
Speaker Oyo State House of Assembly, Mr. Adibo Ogundoyin, has stressed the need for enhanced security measures in border towns and communities across the state. He met the submission during a strategic security meeting with the Commissioner of Police, Oyo State Command, Mr. Abimbola Olubinga, at the police headquarters, Eleyele, Ibadan. Mr. Ogundoyin, who noted that many criminal elements often exploit porous borders and remote areas to carry out kidnappings and other criminal activities, stressed the importance of strengthening intelligence gathering, increasing patrol operations, and sustaining proactive policing strategies to safeguard lives and property, especially in vulnerable communities. The Speaker, however, appreciated the ongoing security operations aimed at securing the safe release of the abducted pupils and teachers in Orire local government area of the state, expressing confidence in the commitment and professionalism of security personnel involved in the rescue mission.
Meanwhile, Oyo State Governor Engineer Seyi Makinde has approved the declaration of a 16-hour curfew in 10 local government areas of the state. According to a memo issued by the Secretary to the State Government, Professor Musiba Babatunde, the curfew takes effect from today. The curfew, which is from 4 o'clock in the evening and 8 o'clock in the morning, affects local government areas bordering the Old Oyo National Park. The affected local government areas are Orire, Orelope, Irepo, Shaki West and Shaki East. Others are Atisbo, Itesiwaju, Ishain, Olongshogo and Atiba.
Network of civil society organizations, CSOs in Osun State, has expressed displeasure about the worsening politically motivated violence across the state. Addressing newsmen in Ushubu, the state capital, on behalf of the group, Mr. Demola Yaya said there is the urgent need to restructure the State Police Command to achieve a credible, transparent and peaceful poll come August 15 governorship election. Mr. Yaya, who noted that residents of the state have lost confidence in the State Police Command, threatened to embark on protest if the police failed to contain further political violence. He called for urgent need for the redeployment of the Osun State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Ibrahim Gotan, accusing him of being partisan and fueling violence in the state. Ms. Ayaya expressed concerns that since the last public demonstration by the CSOs, which demanded for Mr. Gotan's removal, the state witnessed worsened incidents of killings and violent attacks, and the command failed to make any arrests. Also speaking, one of the leaders of the CSOs, Mr. Emmanuel Olu, who frowned at the worsening attacks, maintained that if not checkmated, would pave way for rigging of the forthcoming governorship election in the state. Mr. Olu added that civil societies have issued the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Tunji Disu, 74 hours to restructure Osun State Police Command, else the activists would mobilize citizens for a protest that would linger till the election day.
Operatives of the Ogun State Police Command have killed 2 suspected kidnappers and recovered a firearm, cash and other items during a follow-up operation linked to the rescue of an abducted victim in the state. According to the command spokesperson, DSP Oluseyi Babashe, the operation was carried out by its anti-kidnapping unit as part of ongoing efforts to combat kidnapping and other violent crimes across the state. DSP Babashe said the victim was abducted on the 11th of this month at Ogbe village in the state. He stated that upon receiving the report, the command activated its anti-kidnapping unit and deployed intelligence and tactical resources to secure the victim's release and neutralize the suspects.
The management of Dangote Petroleum Refinery has dismissed claims that petroleum products refined at its facility are exported to Lome, Togo, and subsequently re-imported into Nigeria. Reacting in a statement issued via its X handle, the refinery's management described the allegation as unfounded and unsupported by trade realities. According to the management, the allegation does not align with available trade flows, commercial logic, or the company's business objectives. The company explained that one of its key commercial objectives is to strengthen its position as a leading supplier of petroleum products in the Nigerian market, noting that facilitating imports that compete with its own production would be contrary to that goal. The refinery further revealed that its sales contracts and tender terms expressly prohibit the release or re-importation of products into Nigeria. Addressing the economic viability of the alleged trade arrangement, Dangote Refinery said the logistics cost of transporting products from its facility to Lome and then back into Nigeria would significantly increase expenses and reduce profitability.
Niger State House of Assembly has suspended plenary indefinitely, citing unresolved issues with the executive arm of the state government. The suspension followed a motion moved by a member representing Chanchaga constituency, Mohammed Abubakar Kabil, urging the House to suspend proceedings until all resolved issues with the executives are addressed, although it did not disclose the alleged unresolved issues, but told the House that posterity would judge members if they continued to allow pending issues with the executive to be swept under the carpet.
To legal matters now, the Federal High Court in Abuja has fixed 30th of this month for ruling on application by activist and publisher Omoyele Sowore seeking the restoration of his bail and the setting aside of a bench warrant issued against him. Justice Muhammad Umar adjourned the matter after parties adopted their processes in the application. The court had on the 16th of this month revoked Sowore's bail and issued a bench warrant for his arrest after he failed to appear in court for his trial on allegations bordering on cybercrime and criminal defamation. The Department of State Services, DSS, is prosecuting Sowore over alleged criminal defamation arising from claims that he referred to President Bola Tinubu as a criminal in posts made on his official X and Facebook accounts. The court had on Monday ordered the remand of the African Action Congress presidential candidate at the Kuje Correctional Center pending the determination of his application seeking a stay of execution on the earlier order revoking his bail.
The Oyo State House of Assembly has called on the state government through relevant agencies to take proactive measures to curb the spread of misinformation and fake news on social media, particularly as political activities intensify ahead of the 2027 electioneering campaigns. The resolution followed the adoption of the motion sponsored by the lawmaker representing Oluyole State constituency, Mr. Waheed Akintayo, during plenary. Presenting the motion, the lawmaker expressed concern over the growing circulation of unverified information across social media platforms. According to him, the increasing prevalence of fake news has continued to generate panic, anxiety, and distrust among citizens, posing a threat to public confidence in institutions and the overall stability of the society. He urged the executive arm of government to work through relevant communication agencies and engage critical stakeholders to promote responsible use of social media and address the menace of information before it escalates during the election period. In his remarks, Speaker of the House, Mr. Adebo Ogundoyin, clarified that the intention of the motion was not to suppress freedom of expression or limit citizens' rights to express their views, but was concerned about the abuse of social media platforms through the deliberate spread of falsehoods and misleading information.
Burial arrangements for a veteran journalist and former staff of the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN, Omoba Ebenezer Olufemi Bobade, begin tomorrow with service of songs at his residence, number 6 Irewolede Zone, Agbofiete Akbata, Ibadan, at 5 o'clock in the evening. According to a statement by the family, a funeral service will hold on Friday at All Saints Rest Park Chapel on Ologueru Idoerua Road at 10 o'clock in the morning, while interment follows immediately after the service. The thoroughbred editor and reporter, who was popularly referred to as Femi Bobade, joined the services of the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN, as a clerk on the 21st of January 1980 and rose through the ranks to become manager news at FRCN headquarters Radio House, Abuja, capping his career as the State House correspondent from 2012 till his retirement in 2015. Omoba Bobade, aged 64, died on the 22nd of last month and is survived by his wife, children, and grandchildren.
Similarly, the Christian wake for Mrs. Olukemi Olubumi Oshotoye will hold tomorrow at a residence in Bangudu, Akobo, during Ibadan at 4 o'clock in the evening. According to a statement by her family, Mrs. Oshotoye's body will be laid to rest at her residence on Friday following a Celestial Church service. Mrs. Oshotoye, who died at the age of 62, was a retired staff of the Ministry of Defense, Abuja. She is survived by her husband, who is a former staff of Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN, Mr. Shola Oshotoye, and children.
In case you've just joined us, you are listening to The World Today, and here are the stories that made the headlines. FG has unveiled digital curriculum for colleges of education. Dangote Refinery has refuted claims of fuel re-importation from Togo. And still to come, England shuts schools over heat wave. France detects first Ebola case. Do stay with us. We'll be back in a moment.
Glad to know you're still with us on the world today. Now to the foreign scene. Schools across southeast England are closing early as rare red heat warning hit the country. The red warning covers areas of Kent, Surrey and Sussex. According to the Meteorological Office, temperatures in Hastings and Crawley are expected to hit 36 degrees Celsius, while Maidstone is expected to reach 36 and Wesley Surrey is forecast to reach 37 Celsius today. Transport bosses have urged people to avoid traveling today and tomorrow, while warning those who do to prepare for a disrupted journey. Temperatures are set to continue increasing, with a heat dome having settled over Western Europe.
Well, still on the foreign scene, France has announced its first confirmed case of Ebola, and a doctor back from the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC. The Health Ministry, in a statement, confirmed the development. The case is the first of the deadly hemorrhagic fever identified outside the African continent during the current outbreak, which has also affected Uganda. It's the first time Ebola has been detected in France. In 2014, during a major outbreak in West Africa, 2 patients were transported to France after being diagnosed abroad.
Kenyan prosecutors say they are preparing to charge several students with the murder of their schoolmates following a suspected school arson attack last month. 16 pupils aged from 15 to 18 years died and dozens more were injured when a fire broke out in a dormitory at Umushi Girls' School in Gilgit, northwest of the capital, Nairobi. 8 students were later arrested after police said they may have been involved in starting the fire by setting mattresses alight near an exit. The State Prosecutor's Office said after careful assessment of the evidence, the Director of Public Prosecutions approved charges against the implicated students.
And now to sport, and of course, the ongoing 2026 FIFA World Cup. Portugal superstar Cristiano Ronaldo made history yesterday when he scored twice in his country's 5-0 thrashing of Uzbekistan in their second Group K match of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Ronaldo became the first player to score in 6 different World Cup tournaments and also the oldest player to score a brace in the World Cup. In other matches played, England and Ghana settled for a goalless draw. Colombia booked their place in the round of 32 with a 1-0 victory over Democratic Republic of Congo DRC, while Croatia beat Panama 1-0. Today, Switzerland will take on Canada. Bosnia and Herzegovina will tackle Qatar. Morocco battle Haiti, while Scotland will lock horns with Brazil.
Out of the matter today beams its searchlight on assessing International Monetary Fund IMF recent report on Nigerian economy. It is written by Fauzia Kashim of our Current Affairs Unit.
International Monetary Fund, IMF, in its latest assessment of Nigeria's economy acknowledges the bold reforms which have significantly improved macroeconomic stability and investor confidence, but warns that severe poverty and food insecurity continues to distress millions of citizens. This assessment has brought into limelight the reality that millions of Nigerians live with every day. While the government boasts of the country's macroeconomic indicators showing signs of improvement, yet poverty, hunger, and economic hardship remain widespread. Over the past 10 years, federal government has pursued some economic reforms such as the closure of the country's land borders, ban on importation of some goods, gradual and eventual removal of fuel subsidy, the unification of the foreign exchange market, fiscal adjustments and tighter monetary policies were presented as necessary measures to rescue the economy from long-standing structural distortions. Government officials have repeatedly pointed to improvements in foreign reserves, increased investor confidence, greater exchange rate stability, and improved fiscal revenues as evidence that the reforms are yielding results. No doubt, achievements such as the improvement of government revenue and signs that investors are beginning to view the country with renewed interest deserve recognition. These reforms have translated into higher transportation costs, rising food prices, declining purchasing power, and the constant battle to make ends meet. In a report from IMF, about 63% of Nigerians live below the poverty line, while millions struggle daily to access affordable food. Nigeria's economy definitely required difficult situations that maintaining the status quo would not solve if drastic action is not taken. The challenge is not in implementing reforms, but protecting ordinary citizens from the consequences. Economic reforms are tools designed to create prosperity, expand opportunity, and move living standards, but public confidence in the reform process begins to erode when citizens experience only the pain of reform without seeing corresponding benefits. Government needs to understand that a reform program that stabilizes the economy but leaves a majority of citizens behind leaves behind gap between policy achievements and public perception. This is why government must pay greater attention to the social dimension of economic reform. Beyond celebrating improvements in economic policies, government should demonstrate how those gains will translate into jobs, lower food prices, improved incomes, and broader opportunities for ordinary Nigerians. These programs must be strengthened, targeted, and transparently implemented, while investments in agriculture, food production, and critical infrastructure must be accelerated. Measures that support small and medium-scale enterprises should become a priority, as their role in employment creation and economic inclusion cannot be downplayed. What is obvious is that Nigeria has embarked on a difficult path that may eventually yield long-term benefits, but the credibility of that journey will depend not only on what happens on financial markets, government accounts, or international reports, but also on what happens in homes, markets, and communities across the nation. The true test of the reform agenda is not if it satisfies economic theory or earns international commendation. It is whether it improves the lives of Nigerians on the long run.
That script on accessing International Monetary Fund IMF recent report on Nigerian economy was written by Fauzia Kashim of our Current Affairs Unit and read by Olubukola Enimola.
Now, have you heard about two oceans that meet but never mixes? Let's now bring you details. The Gulf of Alaska is an arm of the North Pacific Ocean defined by the curve of the southern coast of Alaska in the United States of America, USA, stretching from the Alaska Peninsula and Kodiak Island in the West Alexander Archipelago. It is a place where this ocean meets, but interestingly, they never mix with each other. The ocean also has an uneven combination of mountain, forest, and glaciers. The melting water of glacier is mineral-rich and sediment-laden with salive water, with the first one lighter in density with light blue color, while the salt content makes seawater density heavy, giving it a dark blue shade. Report says variation in water density brings that difference in colors. However, the temperature and salinity level difference are responsible for keeping the water bodies different. That feature on Gulf of Alaska was written by Grace Uju.
To end the news on the world today from the stable of Radio Nigeria, here again are the day's top stories. The Executive Secretary of the National Commission for Colleges of Education, Mrs. Angela Ajadla, has unveiled plans to introduce a competency-based digital curriculum across Nigerian colleges of education, declaring that her administration is determined to restore the prestige of teacher education and produce a new generation of digitally skilled, globally competitive teachers. The management of Dangote Petroleum Refinery has dismissed claims that petroleum products refined at its facility are exported to Lomé, Togo, and subsequently re-imported into Nigeria. Schools across southeast England are closing early as rare red heat warning hit the country. We also brought to you that France has announced its first confirmed case of Ebola on a doctor back from the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Well, that's it on the world today. Join us tomorrow for a fresh edition of the program. It was put together by Lilian Ibomo. I'm Emilia Ujimudia, and from my colleague
Stephen Agbaje, good afternoon.